Hey friends, welcome back to the Homestead. So we are in the middle of our series of making black walnut syrup, and now we're going to do our final boil. If you've not seen our other videos where we tapped the trees, collected the syrup, and did our initial boil, I'll leave a link to those right up in here. But for today, we're going to go ahead and do the finishing boil and process everything and get them bottled into these nice pretty little bottles that we picked up off of Amazon. We have a lot of black walnuts here on the property, and we thought we would make good use of the resources that God has given us.
We identified 10 of our black walnut trees on our property that we felt like would be good for producing sap. The sap ran for about 2 weeks, but it really wasn't that long because we had so many cold days.
Yeah, there was only 5 days that the sap actually ran.
In that 5 days time, we got 10 gallons. 10 gallons of sap, which sadly, with a 40-to-1 ratio, we're only going to get about 1 quart of black walnut syrup out of. It didn't really take us that long, and it wasn't really that difficult.
No, I mean...
Other than the fact that it poured rain on you.
It did pour rain while I was doing my boil, but it only took about 5 hours to do the complete boil.
And all your electronics only got soaking wet one time. We boiled the 10 gallons of sap down to about 2 quarts of...
Concentrate.
Concentrate? Is that what we're going to call it?
Yeah, we'll just call it sap concentrate.
Sap concentrate. And when we're done, we should have 1 quart, roughly, give or take, of finished black walnut syrup.
And that finished black walnut syrup, based on my research, it's selling online and Etsy shops and different things, sells for about $5 an ounce. Now we need to get some equipment. We're going to get our canning pot. We're going to get a 4-quart pot to do the boil in. We've also got some little 8-ounce jars that we're going to fill. We've got a candy thermometer. We've also got a funnel so that we can fill the bottles. And then finally, we have our sap concentrate. Okay. Before we get started, I just want to talk to you a little bit about storing your sap, because it does take a while to collect all the black walnut sap that you need. You can do this in batches. So you can collect 10 gallons of sap, do a half a boil, and then freeze that so that you're not wasting it.
Up until this point, sanitation hasn't really been super important. Just general cleanliness has been necessary. But after the final boil, which we're going to do in here, anything that touches the syrup is going to have to be completely sanitized. We're going to filter out any debris and sugar sand, which is something I learned about.
Just all that little crystallized debris that happens when you're boiling it down. And we'll just use this cheesecloth to filter that out with. To sanitize it. So we've just got our bottles in here. We've got our funnel in here. We've got our candy thermometer in there, and we're just going to bring this to a boil and let that get everything clean and sanitized so that they'll be ready for our syrup.
You get this one because it's the one I could get.
That'll work. It's got a dent in it. What happened there? Right, so while we've got that starting to boil, we'll go ahead and start with our syrup. We'll strain this out and get the initial sugar, sand, and contaminants out.
Okay, next. Ready to go again?
Yep.
Oh, look, we got pieces of cheesecloth in there.
Probably should try to get that out.
We should use the cheesecloth.
Probably not. What we're looking for is it to boil at 7.5 degrees above water's boiling point. Once we reach that point, we know that we've got enough concentrated sugar in there for it to be the right consistency and the right sweetness to have for our syrup.
Hungry for the road all my life, thirsty for adventure all my youth, chasing all my freedoms down Liberty Avenue. And every time I hear a phrase my mother used to say to me, everything happens for a reason, I get the feeling I need a little taste of home, 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 just a little taste of home. I need a little taste of home.
This is all
home, home. I
read about that.
Taste of home.
Vegetable oil.
Oh my, that's about half. Good job. So we've got our syrup boiled down to the concentrate that we need it. We've got all of our bottles and our funnel sanitized. Now we're going to filter the syrup and then fill the bottles. Ready? And then we'll just pop this little lid on, clip that down.
It's gonna be hot.
It is a little bit
You
hot.
can use this top layer of the towel if you need to.
We have almost 2 full bottles of black walnut syrup. I think where we went wrong was my little trick with measuring the temperature, because our stove, what it was doing is it was coming on, but it was regulating its own temperature, so it was cutting the eye off. So it would only get up to about 210, 215 degrees before it would start dropping back down. But I am super excited about these bottles, and it shows a proof of concept that we can make black walnut syrup here on the property, and it literally cost us
Time.
time.
It's a good learning experience, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. We might be able to filter it out a little bit more. There's still a little bit of...
Yeah, I think that final filter we could have, we already had the cheesecloth doubled, but I think we could have gone back to the 4s that we had originally started with.
Yeah.
So we definitely took some things away from this.
Yeah, so learning process, maybe filter it a little bit more, get a maybe a hot plate or a camp stove that we can finish it on. Cool. We have syrup. There we go.
Right.
Very sweet.
I like it.
I like it too. That's really good.
I like it. I would definitely say I like this better than maple syrup. It's so different. It's clearly syrup, but it's,
Yeah.
I don't know what to do with it. Like, it's freaking me out a little. I like it.
You did a good job.
You did a good job.
All right, friends. Well, that's about all the time that we've got for you, but we've got a couple of bottles of black walnut syrup. It's surprisingly delicious.
It's great.
It is great. It's really good. I'm really happy with how it turned out. There's a few things that we would do differently, but you know, for our first go around at this and just as an experiment and proof of concept to see if we could do something like this, it worked. It's got a bit of a fruity tinge. It smells a little bit smoky, probably from the fire that I used to do the initial boil. But overall, we're really happy with it.
It's great.
Yep.
I love it. I like it better than maple syrup.
Well, I'm glad. So, all right, guys. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. If you found this video informative or entertaining at least, go ahead, hit the thumbs up. Let us know that you liked it. And if you've not subscribed to the channel, consider subscribing. See more of what we have going on here on the Homestead. And we'll see you guys on the next video. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Go put on pajamas.
Yep.